Hey guys, MaxMom here, and if you could tell already from the title, then you know I'm going to be talking about the Destiny mods and cheats. If you've been following me, then you know that I just made a video about Titanfall mods, but here I'm going to be going into a little more depth about everything. Because Titanfall and Destiny are two very different games. I mean, Titanfall is your classic FPS game, but most of the stuff you'd see in a game like Call of Duty, you could probably do in a mod for Titanfall. But Destiny, and I know I haven't talked a lot about it recently, actually at all, but you'll see me covering it a little more closely in the future. Destiny's not like Titanfall or Call of Duty. If, in fact, it's a whole new genre of gaming, well, it has the potential to be. For those of you who haven't heard about Destiny, or have heard of it but don't really know what it's about, it's an MMO style FPS. Now I'm sure many of you, if not all of you, have played an MMO before. Club Penguin is an MMO. Massive Multiplayer Online is what it stands for. So basically you can interact with other players in-game. We've all seen that before. But Destiny is also an FPS game. So you're in this place with all these other players, but it'd be similar to Call of Duty or Titanfall in the sense that you shoot and kill enemies through first-person perspective, obviously. This has never been done before. Groundbreaking. Or if it has, I've never heard of it. Probably because it was done poorly. But please tell me in the comments if there are any MMO FPS games out there, because I would be curious to see what went wrong. Now, the action in this isn't geared against other players, which I'm a little bit skeptical about, but whatever. Rather, it's against AI forces, similar to a co-op campaign. But the difference is it's open world, meaning you can go to Mars if you want and kill some guys, or maybe head over to the moon for some more action. From my understanding, and please correct me if I'm wrong, you can only interact with players outside of your party or squad or fire team or whatever they're calling it, that you'll be fighting with in battles in certain areas. Like in Poptropica, if you guys have played that, you can only talk to other people in like a little pub or restaurant. But in Destiny, I think it's like Earth, which is limited to only like one city. It's the only place you can actually interact with other players, like the entire Destiny community on one area. But when you can go into like levels or combat zones, you bring your squad mates, which is like a limited number. That way there aren't like 2,000 people killing things together on Mars, just your team. Probably. Does that make sense? Probably not, but I guess you guys, most of you already know that. So here it comes with the mods. And I'd like to apologize in advance for the gameplay. It's a little bit slow. It's not mine, since I didn't get to do any beta stuff for this game. Not yet, at least. So sorry. I'll try and edit out the really boring stuff. But there's not a whole lot of action, so I might have to loop some stuff, or you guys might just see some boring scenes. So, back to it. Modding. Modding in an open world or MMO would be very different, because developers have a much greater responsibility to their consumers to prevent these mods and cheats, because instead of affecting just one server, which is like 16 players or 12 players or whatever it is, that's bad enough. But in an MMO, you affect every single player in the game, the entire community. On Earth, that is, because in other combat zones, you would only be affecting your party. And I'll get into that later. And there are public events too, which are like open world battles to kill like supreme bosses. But that's a little different. But preventing mods in completely MMO areas becomes a much higher priority for developers. So I would say that some developers have some pretty complex hack detector or some shit like that to find any mods being used on a large server like the Earth world. But that being said, as soon as you leave Earth, you are in your own server, just like a classic FPS game in a campaign mode. Only now, the only players in your server are your friends, or I guess there might be some auto grouping going on if you're lonely and you don't have a team. But assuming you aren't lonely, the only people on your server are going to be your buds, and not some 8-year-old that's going to report you for your hack like in Call of Duty. Now, they still have ways to find those mods and hacks on normal servers, similar to what the classic FPS games have. but there are 100 ways to bypass those, so that shouldn't be a problem at all. So you essentially have to get free reign of everything that happens in your server. You have that power. The power of modders is literally endless. Halo, which is the only game whose mods I've followed, has made some crazy stuff for their campaign levels, adding their own vehicles and molding objects and breaking map barriers. And that was with all the steps that Microsoft takes against modding. PC games are even better because many games on Steam actually encourage modders. Space Engineers, which all of you who have subscribed to me know that I love that freaking game. Space Engineers does it, and even the most basic modders can add in their own custom designs, and experienced models can build their own cities and other planets. On Destiny, you could do all that and then some. On the moon, on your own custom server, and your progress would be saved with your friends. So you could just spawn into this awesome world you've crafted together, and it'd be like a campaign level. Since the storyline isn't linear, there would always be something new for you to do, or build, or anything else. Not to mention skins and camos and all that shit that you guys could all do. That's a normal FPS though, so that's not exactly impressive. What would I like to see, you ask? You're probably not asking that, but whatever. I want to see A, custom vehicles, which I'm sure we can expect. B, addable AI, meaning you can spawn enemies at will, which is a maybe, but I'm sure modders could pull that off. And C, the ability to add in like your own custom buildings, which you can build on your computer or something, and then upload it into the game. And that's probably like just a dream, but it might not be that distant. I mean, it's not as impossible as you might think. Tell me what you all would like to see. Thanks, guys.